And we're back. Alright, then we have new magic items. And first this section is armor and shields, enhancements, and weapons. Now, the Blackmoor setting has energy types, just like the standard 3.5 setting does. You know, fire, cold, acid, everything. They have sonic as well. They also have elemental energy types. And since they have 6 elemental types of energy in this game, earth, air, water, fire, metal, and wood, that means that you can have a weapon that has a elemental air, which would do an extra die 6 of air damage when you swing it. Now, I believe that there's nothing preventing you from having elemental fire damage for a +1 bonus, which would do 1 die 6, but you could also have energy fire damage on it for a +1. Well, it would also do 1 die 6, which would mean you'd have 2 die 6 of fire damage from 2 different sources. Now, I don't have a problem with that. You're paying for it. 2 +1 bonuses, so I had no problem with that whatsoever. Interestingly, because there's a metal and a wood elemental ability, you could have a metal weapon with a wood power, or a wooden weapon with a metal power, or a double metal or double wood weapon with, so that'd be probably pretty effective against vampires in my book, which is interesting. Not necessarily something I think the game was lacking without, but still cool. And we have potions and oils. Didn't really stick in my head. They have rings, and because this is a new metal and wood are new elemental abilities, they have elemental command rings for wood and for metal. The wood one's kind of cool because once you've activated it, just like like an elemental or fire elemental ring has to be activated, it allows you to do wood shape at will. That's got a lot of utility ability right there, man. You could change the shape of doors. You can make items. You could become very good at bows and stuff. That'd be cool. Rods, scrolls, staves. Of course, a bunch of elemental stuff for staves. Staves. Sorry. It should be staves. Wands, wondrous items. Now, the wondrous items, again, because of animal stuff, there's a lot of animal-based spells for magic items in this, which makes sense. But they have magic teeth. An entire set of 28 magic teeth. And you have to rip out your tooth and put the right magic tooth in that spot. So if you rip out the wrong tooth, that tooth won't fit. And the other way to get them out after you put them in is to tear them out. Yeah, it's a weird thing, but maybe Dave Arneson liked teeth. They also have these magic items, and I can't remember what they're called. They're little gems, and you swallow them, and they fuse themselves to your soul. Now, they're powerful. One of these things can give you a +5 inherent bonus to a stat. One of them grants you the ability that you no longer need to eat or drink. Another one allows you to never have to breathe again. And you're only allowed to have one of these things. You can't have 2 of them. So that's kind of cool. And the +5 bonus to your inherent stat, 137,000 gold pieces. That's not a bad price, especially if you're making it. Cut that in half. That's not a bad price for a +5. Even if you can't ever use another one, that's still pretty cool. Especially if a wizard, throw that in there and a +5 intelligence. That's worth it, man. Then we have the churches of Blackmoor, and these are the religions themselves are in the last Blackmoor book. This is some examples of churches, each one specific to one of the faiths. Very useful if you want to have, what is the main church that my character is going to be either a member of, or I may aspire to become in service to that church because it's the most important one in my faith. Very handy to have for your campaign. Noble houses of Blackmoor, which is all about the different houses broken down by the different races, which is useful if you're really into playing nobles. And there's a noble class that is important in this world, so very handy. independent wizards group. I was happy to see this, because like I said, the wizards cabal from the last book didn't thrill me. They seemed kind of draconian. I didn't like the whole "we are the authority, and if you do not fit our designs, we will hunt you down and kill you." That didn't appeal to me. So it's nice to know that there are other wizard organizations out there, arcane magic out there. There's also the Eldritch Underground, which is for all the people who are actively opposing the wizards cabal. So I liked that even better. That was cool. And they have other organizations within Blackmoor. Regency Council, the King's Champions, Brothers of the Greenwood, the Court of the Rapier, the Genri, House of the Five Thorned Roses, a whole bunch of different organizations. Now, you can use these as they are for a Blackmoor setting. But you could also use them as a template for another 3.5 setting or Pathfinder setting, or just use them generically for any fantasy setting. Just file off the serial numbers, change the names of the people who are in charge, change the name. You can dump them into any fantasy campaign without a problem. Or, if your players are never going to take a look at the Blackmoor setting, you could use them just like they are in here, dump them in your campaign, and your players are probably never going to know the difference. Save yourself a whole bunch of work. Need a Thieves Guild? One's right here. Need some bardic organizations? There you go. They even have some based on different races. So that's kind of handy too. Then there is some monasteries of Blackmoor, which is kind of nice because they give you different selection. One which is a dwarven monastery, which I love the idea. I've always loved the idea of dwarven monks because, let's face it, they're with a speed of 20, they're not fast. Dwarven monks means they're going to really be booping around. Going to confuse the crap out of people when there's now a dwarf moving at speed 50. Then there's an appendix, which is very thorough, which I definitely appreciate. Overall, a definite must-have. If you have the Blackmoor setting, the Player's Handbook, the Player's Guide is definitely worth your time. And like I said, I got my books from the Troll and Toad for, like I said, $18 shipped, man. That's a great price. Very well done. Well presented. Some strange focuses in my book because, again, I don't quite grasp why there were so many animal-based things. Why are there magic teeth? I don't quite get that. But I can't ask Dave, unfortunately. Maybe he had a really good reason. If anyone who ever sees this ever played with Dave, could you tell me why he loves some of these things so much? I would really love to know. But I recommend this highly. It's going to be useful to any 3.5 or Pathfinder campaign, especially if you're playing Blackmoor. And I think it can be used as a generic reference source for a fantasy setting in, one of your favorite fantasy system. So, go get a copy.